What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have a decently big video for you all today. I have a lot of stuff to discuss regarding the anti-cheat within Battlefield 6, how many cheaters were held back from the overall experience during the beta, and how many actually tried to, come on through. And also some more information about how they're going to be handling the seasons coming up, and, things that they kind of adjusted from the beta going into the lab session and moving towards the full launch. So, of course, make sure you guys buckle on in. We have a lot of stuff to go ahead and discuss. But as always, if you guys do enjoy what you hear today, don't forget subscribing to that bell. I'll post twice here, once at 8 a.m. and also a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Pretty much all different types of variety content. I'm even branching out from FPS and third-person shooters as well. I'm starting to discuss Skate a little bit. So if you guys are interested in any of that, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to the channel down in the description of this video. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, to go ahead and begin, we're going to talk about the anti-cheat within Battlefield 6. And just to keep in mind, all of this information is from Battlefield Bulletin, and it's from the Tokyo Game Show. But of course, I'll leave the link to all of these, things I'm reading off down in the description of this video. First and foremost, Ripple Effect executive producer Ryan McArthur says throughout the Battlefield 6 open beta, tens of thousands of players tried to cheat, but their anti-cheat system, Javelin, prevented them from doing so. We'll continue to identify, escalate region-specific cheat tools, and build up our dedicated feedback loops to ensure issues are regularly at surface and quickly resolved. We're constantly evolving and exploring your feedback, as this will continue to shape and evolve our anti-cheat for Battlefield 6. And to be honest with you guys, their anti-cheat was extraordinarily solid. We're talking about an open beta here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody has access. If you get banned, who gives a crap? It's not like you lost out on any cash whatsoever. So there's going to be a lot of cheaters, and as they stated, there were a lot of cheaters. But from what I can tell, I don't think I've ever ran into any of them. I'm being serious. Throughout both betas, I have not run into a single problem. Nobody, using aimbot, nobody having any wall hacks, UAV hacks. I mean, maybe there might have been someone, but if there were, they were extremely awful at the game, and they might have gotten like 2 kills while using the cheats, but they were so bad that their game sense just wasn't there, and they couldn't get more than 10 bodies. So that's probably the only cheaters I actually witnessed. But it does seem, indeed, that Javelin anti-cheat prevented these individuals from getting into the overall experience. The biggest problem for me personally is that a lot of these anti-cheats nowadays, cough, cough, Ricochet, the most garbage anti-cheat I've ever seen in my life, and you would think that Activision being bought out by Microsoft, their security would be top-notch, but clearly they don't give a crap. But a lot of these anti-cheats don't do their job before the individuals get into the experience, right? They wait until they get into the experience. They go into the shadow ban realm, where there they have to be, I guess, they have people guessing if they're going to be cheating or not, and that's when you have to rely off of the human eye, which is hard to do. There's a lot of good players nowadays. And honestly, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but a lot of devs, not for all these different teams, but a lot of devs don't. I mean, they're not that outstanding at the game, okay? I'm just going to say, that's the nicest way I could put it. They're not that outstanding, and I would not put money on them being able to tell the difference between someone who is actually legit at the game and someone who's actually cheating. I'm also willing to put money on the fact that if a lot of these devs saw someone who wasn't cheating, who was getting really good shots, they will probably claim and, complain that they're cheating all the time. You know what I'm saying? Guarantee it. But this is how it's supposed to be handled. You're not supposed to let them in, then find them, then, send them to the Shadow Realm, then go ahead and critique them. No, your anti-cheat is supposed to detect them before they even get into the game. They should be out of the experience before they even try to go ahead and load in. I mean, honestly, I guess Activision has just put a really bad taste in my mouth when it comes to anti-cheats. But I just can't believe that I'm witnessing an anti-cheat that actually functions. You know what I'm saying? And not a lot of games can do that. It's not just Call of Duty. Rainbow Six Siege has a major, cheating problem as well. A lot of games have a cheating problem. But it seems that some teams can, get it under control a little bit better than others. And I'm not saying it's completely under control because, this is the problem when it comes to cheating. It's like a cat and mouse chase. No matter how many times they improve the anti-cheat, the people who are putting together the cheats are going to find a workaround, right? That's their business. Their business is to put together cheats, and their job is to find ways to work around the anti-cheat system so players can be douchebags and losers and go ahead and cheat inside the gaming experience. So it's a constant cat and mouse chase, right? The people who are making the cheats go ahead and work around it. Then the people who are behind the anti-cheat have to go ahead and work around that. Then the people who, go ahead and put together the cheats have to work around that one. And it's back and forth, back and forth. So it's definitely a difficult job. And I'm not saying it's supposed to be something that is easy, right? I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that this is supposed to be how it's handled. It's supposed to be detecting these individuals before they go ahead and get up into the game. And I saw a noticeable difference between a game like this or hopping into a game, like I just said, COD, where cheaters are absolutely everywhere. They're running rampant. I mean, if you go back and look at some of my BO6 videos, I have tons of them showcasing. Not just talking about them. I'm not just sitting here saying, oh, there's a lot of... No, I'm talking about real evidence. I'm showing proof in tons of videos. They are everywhere. It's a joke. And as I stated, with all the hours I packed into Battlefield 6, which were a lot of hours, okay? I was grinding that game. I mean, maybe one, but I'm saying maybe because I don't want to make it seem like I'm being completely biased here. That's a huge maybe. Realistically, I didn't notice a singular thing. Of course, you guys can let me know down in the comments section, but the experience was a very clean, very impressive, and I gotta give EA, not DICE, but EA props for actually putting money into an anti-cheat system, a new anti-cheat system, Javelin, that actually functions. I'm amazed, but it works properly. And next up here, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before from Battlefield Bulletin, they went ahead and said Battlefield 6 Season 1 will debut very shortly after launch, as Battlefield Studios has begun preparations for future seasonal content with new weapons, vehicles, and maps being added regularly. General Manager Byron Bede says, the teams have made adjustments and fixes that will be coming both at launch and beyond. So there's a patch coming for the launch build of the game. We've been making so many adjustments based on open beta feedback. Adjustments to weapons, customization options, recoil, tapfire characteristics, rewarding precision, and emphasizing their unique feel and performance. And you'll see through our brand new kinesthetic combat system, the movement mechanics have been adjusted. We're reducing slide jump momentum, penalizing jump spamming, and decreasing accuracy while firing mid-air to promote more tactical gameplay. We've also made other fixes and adjustments. We can't wait for you to experience both at launch and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely outstanding news, and seriously, DICE must go ahead and nail this. DICE has a horrible history within Battlefield, with not dropping enough content after the launch of the game. It's always a horrendous cycle. 2042, don't even get me started on that game, seriously, that was just absolutely disgusting. Battlefield 5 took ages to get our first map, and do you guys remember how long we waited just to get a open tank map and how outraged the community was? Battlefield 1 took forever to get more content. Seriously, it's just a typical thing for Battlefield to take 10 frickin' years to get anything introduced into the overall experience, probably more than likely because the games always launch in an absolutely atrocious state. I mean, Battlefield 1 wasn't that bad, but, you know, all the other ones, they're buggy, glitchy, performance is horrible. Battlefield 6, on the other hand, is pretty dang good. That's probably what happens when you put a ridiculous amount of years, and, you know, back into the overall game here. Because, I mean, as I stated before, there's no way this wasn't being already worked on when Battlefield 2042 was a thing. Battlefield 2042 was such a mess up that I refuse to believe that that was a true vision of theirs and not just a filler game because, you know, we've already been waiting 2-3 years and they had to get something else out there. So they just threw 2042 together and shipped it out the door. Battlefield 6 has had to have a pretty decent development cycle behind it, meaning it's been going through extensive testing, a lot of optimization. The developers are not messing around with this game. And if it's anything like the beta, which I hope it is, because I've seen many times before where the beta build plays way better than the official build, keep my fingers crossed that the official build will play fine. But if it's anything similar, Battlefield 6 should be smooth sailing, meaning the devs don't really have to worry about anything else besides stuffing with content. So please, DICE, please do not mess this up. For the first time in Battlefield history, give us reasonable content. I know maps are not easy to make, and for Battlefield, they're very in-depth, they're large, it takes a lot of thought to probably put these things together compared to, you know, a very small map. But I'm hoping that they had, you know, plenty of development time to make sure that they were planning for, you know, post-launch, because the community has not been taking this very lightly. The community makes sure that, you know, they voice their opinions about how annoyed they are with the lack of content after all the launches of these games. It's not, you know, rocket science to put it together that Battlefield 6 needs a solid post-launch support. And I'm assuming that they're going to go ahead and deliver this. And also, when it comes down to the adjustments, it's awesome to see that they are just fine-tuning the overall experience and taking all the feedback from the overall community. Again, I don't really think it was that much wrong with the beta form of Battlefield 6. I thought everything played pretty nice between movement, gunplay, and I barely saw anybody doing anything wild besides maybe a couple of players throughout all the hours I sunk into the experience. But overall, the community was not really pleased. They still wanted to see some adjustments, and it seemed they're on top of it. And, you know, all those who played the lab has said that, you know, the overall experience feels way better than it did back in the overall beta. And I also see a lot of comments from people saying, oh, well, they had to prove it to us. I don't believe that they're actually changing things up. Guys, how many times have they proven things to us? Seriously, they have proven us wrong about 5, 6, 7, 8 plus times, honestly. You know, and I'm one of the people as well. You know, I was very skeptical with Battlefield 6 after 2042. And it's a reason why I have the attitude that I have right now, because they just simply refuse to take any L's. They have listened to all of our community feedback. They have adjusted everything the community has asked for. I mean, truthfully, they have got a lot of trust for me now. I'm surprised. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this. But they have got a lot of trust from me. So, a lot of people are skeptical about all these changes, but I 110% believe that they went ahead and adjusted a lot of stuff when it came to movement and gunplay. And it will probably feel a lot better to the overall majority of people out there when it comes to the Battlefield 6 experience. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys when it comes down to all the information that we have gotten from the Tokyo Game Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are right around the corner from Battlefield 6. I cannot freaking wait. I think we have like a little over a week now when it comes to the release and launch of Battlefield 6. I can't tell you guys how slow time is going right now. We need this game pronto. But overall, I'm very happy with the communication that DICE has been pushing forward to us, and I'm happy with the work that they've done to this game. Now, seriously, DICE, do not mess up post-launch. If you guys have a smooth launch along with a smooth amount of content coming afterwards, this might be the first time we'll ever see a Battlefield game truly be successful and keep that success for a long time coming. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post twice here, once at 8 in the morning Eastern Time, and a second time at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, you guys already know that we go ahead and try to post as much variety as possible, so subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I'm going to link that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.